So,
Okay.
if can I just go to YouTube or?
Yeah, go to YouTube. All my stuff is up there that's current.
All right. So,
What do I have here? And
hi,
I'm gonna
ladies
play
and
around a
gentlemen.
little bit.
We were experiencing some technical difficulties,
There we
and hopefully we're through with those. So, we're gonna try and play some some stuff here. Let's see. I usually like to see a video
go.
first. So can I just play like from the Martha LaCroix thing or
Maybe mm, no, probably not. I mean, it's all right, but there's better quality stuff. Go to my website.
okay, I will go to your website.
Go no no yeah, either go to my website or go to my YouTube page. Everything should be up there.
Okay, so I brought up your name, but it just doesn't go to your page. So I'll just go to your,
Go to my website and then go
yeah,
to videos.
okay. See, ladies and gentlemen, this is why I should not be late, which I was today. Sidney Jacobs, isn't it music or something?
Art. SidneyJacobsArt.com. And I'll go there with
All
you.
right, I
And
am
if
there.
you hit videos,
Yeah.
then probably Weave the Tail video. I'm so proud of that one. But you can play,
Well,
you know.
I wanted to see that a little later, but we can do that.
Okay.
We'll,
No, 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 we can wait. Um, there's not a lot of live stuff with me singing.
right.
That's what you wanted to get to. But yeah, there's most of the songs that are current.
All right, we'll go to weave the tail. I'm going to be cutting and pasting. People see us, but I'm going to cut and paste a little bit and then go to the video. So I'm not sure how long it lasts. 440. Okay, maybe we can get to that.
Excuse me.
Certainly.
My goodness. You look so good. If God was playing tag, you would be it.
It's a lot like that. You can play pickup sticks.
Oh my goodness.
It's too bad we're not seeing it yet.
Oh, okay. I've seen it so many times. There's nobody there.
Sidney Jacobs, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, hi, Cathy.
Hey, I like your logo too. It's very nice.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Oh, so sorry for the delay, everybody. You know what it is, Sydney? Pretty sure,
Pickup sticks.
uh, I'm pretty sure that that is because of the earbuds. You know,
Oh, I'm sorry.
no,
Do you want
now
me to
it's
take them
fine.
out?
No, now
Okay.
it's fine. But I think our problem was that the phone was on. Anyway, but
Yeah.
and I'm
I
sorry
don't
for
have the knowledge.
I was running late. I'm sorry about that because, then we could have been on time, even with technical problems. Sidney Jacobs.
Cathy Segal-Garcia, how are you? I haven't spoken to you forever.
I know, it feels like a long time, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I'm watching you though.
I did happen to be there.
Yeah, that was amazing. That was amazing. I just looked up and you were having lunch with your friends or dinner with your friends.
Yeah, that was so where Sydney did that movie was at Bar Fedora inside O'Lock, where I used to have this jazz series for 2.5 years. And we just
Miss it so much.
happened to be eating there, and I'm looking over there. What's going on over there? And it was that movie. They were making
Yeah,
a movie.
that was a big production. It
I
was,
was
yeah.
I was just thinking that, man, that took a lot of pieces getting together.
Yeah, it was a real challenge to my organizationally challenged self to get that going. But really thankful to Patrick Stewart Productions. He's a good friend of mine, and I didn't know it was going to be such a big deal until I actually got to the set and I saw how many people there were and how many pieces were moving. And it was so nice to go back into the Bar Fedora. All of LA needs to give you a plaque or something for doing that for the 2.5, 3 years that you did it. Man, I wish they would open back up.
I
But
know, man. It's such a great room.
yeah,
So Patrick, was he the videographer or
videographer and Jennifer Newman was the line producer, and Patrick Stewart. He's worked all over HBO and Curb Your Enthusiasm. One of my favorite little shows, Flight of the Conchords. I don't know if you ever saw that.
no?
It's really whimsical.
Uh, yeah.
Too, I think they're New Zealand guys, but anyway, yeah, he's highly acclaimed. And I met him on the golf course one day, and we talked and talked and talked, and had no idea what the other person did. And we just had this connection and this fast friendship, and we kind of kept it up. And I told him what I did, and he told me what he did, and he's also an amateur musician. So that was just like another level of the friendship. But to watch him work like in his element was startling, because he's a really laid back guy, and he was just the boss. So I just got to be the star that day. It was fun.
The video is excellent.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, really came out so great. I mean, couldn't have been better. It was really good.
We took I wanted it to have the tone of some of the club footage that you see in Around Midnight. That movie with Dexter Gordon was
Yeah.
just such a lyrically beautiful movie. And those club scenes where the people are just like being drawn in, and it's all in black and white.
Yeah.
So that was the template that we were going for.
Yeah. You're making me want to see that movie again. I really love
Yeah,
it.
it's a good movie. I want to see it again too. It's an excellent movie, and the pace of it, the tone of it is just perfect. It makes me want to take up the saxophone and move to France.
Yeah. How many times have I wanted to do that? I've wanted to do that a lot.
Saxophone or not, right? Just get out of town.
Absolutely. I have wanted to do that so much over my life. Dreamt about that. Like, oh,
Yeah,
but that won't happen
yeah,
unless I suddenly get single.
yeah. Well, if you do, I'll buy you a beret. I think that's about as close as I'm gonna get.
We are going to Paris actually, and
Are you really?
yeah, because I'm going to a workshop with this really amazing artist. You should know about him. Vinx is his name.
I know about Vince.
Oh, okay. Well, he
Yeah,
does these workshops once a year, and he's living in France now, southern France.
he's been living there for a while.
Yeah,
I don't know him,
yeah.
but
When you know
Vince came on
him,
the scene like in the late '80s or early '90s or something, and he
yeah,
was like this wonderkind musician.
yeah.
And then I kind of periodically have check out what he's doing. He's just like music through and through.
Well, back about 20 years ago, a little more, he had this location. I think it was in Culver City, and it was a studio and a venue, and it was really cool. It was kind of a house, and so we would work there, and that's how I met him. But yeah, he's been really involved with a whole bunch of wonderful artists, and he's just very super creative. And
Yeah.
anyway, he does these workshops, and I was interviewing him, and the workshop is very inexpensive, and it's a chance for like a week of, hanging out with other artists and creating. So, and then I thought, well, I'm so close to Paris, and I haven't really been hung out in Paris a lot. So I decided to go, and I invited Gary to go to Paris with me. And so we're going to go for 10 days to Paris.
Oh, wow.
So buy
Wow.
my beret.
I will find your beret. I will find your beret. I'll find you one of those long cigarette filters, that they so they so the smoke wouldn't get in their face.
Yeah.
Or the one that the penguin and the Batman used to use all the time. They'll probably be making a comeback with vapes or something. But wow, at Paris, I haven't been in many years, and it's as a tourist anyway,
Yeah.
it can be a very magical city. I know
Yeah.
they have their own issues, and it's a humongous city. But when you go in as a tourist, you can really just kind of get dazzled by it.
Yeah.
I promised my wife I would take her, but we haven't made plans yet. Wow, Vince, that's amazing. So
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you a question. You're so, I told you a billion times how much I admire you and your work ethic and your creativity and your hustle. How did you like form the relationship with the Vince? Or had you known him before?
No, I did not know him before. I honestly don't know if I remember because I think it was just that it was a venue and it was kind of artsy, and he was I only did at that time I only like worked at his venue. I didn't work on projects with him. And
Mm,
then but we've kept in touch over the years. And so when I asked him to be on the show, he was, more than willing, and it was a really nice interview. It was just very, he's very comfortable, nice person, You would
yeah.
never think that he's done so much because he
Oh
really,
my goodness.
yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I got to go back and look at that interview. I've always been intrigued by him.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I think you and he would get along really well.
well, hope to get to meet him. Maybe
Um,
he'll invite me to Paris.
hey, it could happen. Speaking of
Yes,
your wife was in the movie, which was so charming, and she did a great job.
she did. She did a wonderful job. Um,
She was the trumpet
that's
player, ladies and gentlemen, in that movie.
yes, yes, and never hadn't picked up a trumpet until like 2 nights before. That's Nolan's trumpet, by the way.
Oh,
He was supposed to be the guy because he's one of the trumpet players in the recording, but he had a really good paying gig. I didn't want to take him away from that. Even though he was willing to do it, I was like, nah, man, you got to go. You got to go make your paper.
yeah.
But I need to get you in here somehow. So And so we came up with the idea of Cheryl using his trumpet. And she practiced and practiced. And so now every time she sees like a horn player, she's like, yeah, those are my people. I
Was
was so happy to
was
have
that the
her.
same band, basically? Besides Cheryl?
No, it wasn't. It was there were only two guys. The trombone player, Joachim Tofgard, is a really fabulous player. Does a beautiful solo on a clear day. It's a really nice extended solo. And of course, Josh Nelson.
Yeah.
The bass player is JB Collier, a great friend of mine, and just a humongous bass player. He plays with Bruce Hornsby, and he's the main bass player for the Fifth Dimension.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to get him because I just love him so much. And then the drummer was Miles Robinson. He's the drummer for the Fifth Dimension.
Oh, okay.
So and he's like you. I mean, he's just like another fabulous hustler. He's just got 85, irons in the fire at all times. He's something, man. He never stops moving. It's like amazing just to sit and watch him. Like when we're on the road, I mean, he's just always one phone call, he's writing notes, he's going out of the room like the whole time. He's just like working deals, So that was the band. And then Ricky Woodard, of course, yeah, he played on the record. He played tenor on most of the songs on the album. Of course, that was his solo.
Yeah. Let's see. Dan, oh, I see. Dan directed me to your website.
Hi, Dan.
He's, talking about, well, it's on your website about the record. And let's see, when was the release of this record? If I Were Your Woman?
I think it was June 5th, something like that. I think that's when it came out.
I was curious, and I was curious if when you thought about the title of the record, I know you know what I'm going to say, but it's like it's a it kind of stops one in their tracks, which is I think kind of good, for if I were your woman,
Like you're going, whoa, what is he saying here?
exactly. But I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting. I just wondered if you thought about all of that, the obvious.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And
Yeah.
but you're the first person to ask me. This is like the fourth
Really?
podcast. You are the first person that has the courage to say, what's that about? Really, one guy almost did, but then he backed out of it, and I didn't bail him out. So, yeah, because I think because of the kind of the gender fluid times we're living in, it could raise issues. Really, it was back in 2019 or whenever I started writing these songs, that my wife said, I was looking for an idea. You're like the queen of album concepts. And I was looking for like some through line. And at Bar for Door a few years ago, I had sung a version of I Feel Pretty. It was a Nina Freelon version. It was a really robust version of the song. I was like, oh, this is like gave me tingles. So we did it and it killed, and I, like it was fun. I forgot about it. I remember the cats were kind of teasing me about it, but everybody liked it. And so when I was looking for ideas, Cheryl said, why don't you do an album of all female, like songs that are associated with female artists? And I said, okay. So I started going through and looking at the songs that had meaning in my life. And so kind of every song that was sung on that album has I have a special connection with it. But then when we went to name the album, it could have been I Feel Pretty, it could have been a number of things, but I just thought that If I Were Your Woman kind of punches the viewer in the face and raises a question. And since there's so much music and there's so much entertainment, you have to find a way to like try to cut through
Yeah.
the noise, you know. And so I just kind of took the leap and named it that.
I think it's really interesting.
Thank you.
I think the time is perfect, and the whole gender fluidity thing, and the yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's like you know, I mean, obviously people who don't know you might even wonder if you're transgender or
Right.
just in the
I
beginning.
hadn't I hadn't thought about it to that extent until, you know, after it started coming out. Um, but you know, I'll tell anybody. Like with the LGBTQ movement, I'm like the white people that march with Martin Luther King. You know, back
Yeah,
in the '60s. Like I'm not of it, but I
yeah,
still support everybody having full equality and full availability of expression. So, you know, I'm proud of it. And I hope that it gets people talking. I don't mind
yeah,
being a target, you know.
yeah. It's interesting. I wonder if even that community might want you to perform some of those songs. I don't
I
know, you
know
know.
I'd be glad to. I don't know that many people in that community. I know a few, but yeah, if they reach out to me, we can talk.
It's
Absolutely.
interesting. Yeah. There's so much to think about, isn't there? As the artist,
Yes.
not just making the
Yes.
music. It's like, oh,
That's about the easiest part, isn't it?
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. You know, you're one of my um, role models, really, mentors. And how many albums have you done? Like 85?
15.
Oh my God, that's amazing. So I mean, you are a living example of how the industry has changed and how, you know, artists have to be so much more in control of their career. I just kind of came in right when that transition was happening, but and I know you've had this discussion with other cats a lot, but it's the making the music seems to be like the easiest part of it. It's certainly the most fulfilling part of it, but then you have to be the artistic director, you have to be the promoter, you have to be the radio promoter, you have to be I don't know, graphic designer, web designer, you know,
You
and it
know,
all
I
comes out of your pocket. So you better love what you're doing.
it's really I'm fascinated by all of what you're talking about, you know. And philosophically I'm fascinated by it because over the years, you know, living in this lifestyle and this career, the experiences that you have include so many things. But just like but speaking basically, it's like you're on the path, you're working, right? You're always working, even if you have a straight job, you're always singing, you're working, you're part of the musical community. You're doing things that you enjoy, you're performing and you're writing. Then maybe you get into teaching and you see, you know, um, if you're fortunate, um, and this word fortunate, I'm kind of saving towards after what I'm going to say, but if you're fortunate enough to do what you want to do, like festivals or touring or club dates or you know whatever you're looking for, that kind of height of awareness of you as the artist. And if you're not, if fortunate, you know, how do you deal with that? Do you get into it yourself like voraciously, which at some point I did when I was young. I really was like a very intense worker on that. And those were the days before you could send your EPKs out. You know, I mean, it was paper going out, phone calls to Europe, you know, trying to figure out how you're going to create this tour yourself because managers and booking agents were like, you know, basically few and far between, and they wanted the people who were already famous and blah, blah, blah. So then over the years, yeah, over the years, you look, you know, if you're a person like me who doesn't want to be critical or competitive with your
Hmm.
friends who are being
Hmm.
successful, you know, you have to find a perspective that is going to support what you do if you want to keep doing it, you know, and support good feelings instead of bad feelings, you know.
Yeah.
And I, like when I was 21 or no, I was older than 21. I had this girlfriend, Stephanie Haynes, who was just one of the greatest singers ever. She did this much work compared to me as
Hmm.
far as administration, right? And she got offers for to make records with Cedar Walton and blah 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 blah. You know, and I
Right,
think
right.
even though you know, she was one of my favorite singers, I still felt
Hmm.
like she and I were basically kind of doing the same stuff. And I just finally realized it's like it has nothing to do with anything really except your own path. That's all it is. And if you're not traveling in Paris, you know, and doing the gigs, it's just because you didn't kind of create it. It's not
Yeah.
because of luck or you're
Yeah.
better
We
or
got it.
worse.
That's a fallacy, as you said. You know, it's like the person that's discovered in the coffee shop and all of a sudden they're a major movie star. That doesn't happen. That's the myth of it happening. You talked to me about this because I was struggling with this kind of like feeling like nobody likes me. Yeah. Yeah. How do I deal with that? And it's just a normal range of human emotion that I don't think we should deny that we feel. We don't. I don't want to be phony about it, but at the same time, it's not a positive or a helpful feeling. And you gave me a piece of advice that I carry with me to today. You said when somebody, a colleague of mine, is doing well, I take ownership, like I'm a part of them doing well because I'm a part of their circle. And so it flips the perspective. Instead of being jealous of what that person is doing, now you can say, well, that person serves as a role model for me. What are they doing? Not why did she get there first? What is she doing that allows her to have this kind of presence? And because the self-pity and the jealousy and the envy, that really blocks your creative expression. It clogs you up as a human being, and your emotional paths are all clogged up now. You can't take pride in, or even enjoyment in somebody doing well. But I think it's something that probably many artists have to deal with. I think it's unfortunate, but I also think that's been my point of view, that it is unfortunate that now artists have to basically be their own record companies. It's basically what we're saying, right? I mean, before you might have been handed a piece of paper and maybe you signed your life away, but you didn't have to you didn't have to arrange the photography shoot. You didn't have to book the clubs. You didn't have to contract the players. Your responsibility was to be the artist. Now the responsibility is everything. So I used to look at it, and I have to fight myself right now looking at it as a burden and looking at it, well, it's an opportunity. Also, it's the first time in the history of man that we can get our music out to the entire world, you know? So I got to embrace it. But that piece of advice you gave me about 5 years ago, 4 years ago, really helped to give me a perspective on how to look at other artists and their careers. And also, I have a feeling you probably don't look back that much. You seem like a person that's like always stepping forward, always onto the next thing. And I can be that way, but I have to sometimes stop and say, dude, you've only been doing this for like 7 years, you know? And if 7 years ago, somebody would say, you can be in this position right now, I would have murdered somebody, to get there. But it's also human nature. Like once you've arrived at a place, you're always looking over the horizon, the FOMO, what's next? I've already done this. So I'm blessed. I'm really blessed. And I have to remember that.
Yeah.
Because I was that guy, you know, going to work for 30 years, writing songs at night. I wasn't hustling as much as you were. I wasn't trying to put tours together. But I was just busy with the craft of writing and like the self-expression. So I tell people when they ask me, if you want to do it professionally, if you can do something else, do it. But if you feel like you have to do music and nobody's paying you and you're doing it, you know, like you're running a marathon anyway, then you have a chance of meeting some success, because it's competitive and we're in Los Angeles and everybody can sing and everybody can play and everybody can write, you know, so you have to want it.
Yeah.
I struggle with it though. I do struggle with that still.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't be
That
human,
ambition.
you know. I mean, yeah, everybody struggles. Everybody struggles with it in their own way. You know, even the famous people, they have their own struggles too, you know. So it's part of our human nature to learn how to deal with all the balance and everything. Um, you know, I'm glad that I could have an effect like that for you in the mix. And I remember when you first showed up at my house, you know, I think it was for a scatting workshop or something, but you and I thought, I mean, I don't know who shows up, you know, and then you sang and I was like, this guy is a singer. I mean, he's already got a gorgeous voice and, you know, musical and everything. Um, and and then but you were open for learning, and I think that was what was really I think that was for you, just looking at you and your life and your connection to God or whomever you call, you know, call the power that is, that that was your doorway open. It was like your curiosity, your desire to improve, your hunger for creativity and singing and making music. I mean, that's like a big, huge channel that things could come through, you know. And you're doing really well right now. So let me ask you this, because I mean, we've talked about it, but I want to ask now on the show. How you came up. I can't remember how you came up, where you grew up, and I know I'm pretty sure you were singing gospel before, right?
I grew up in here. I grew up in Los Angeles. Um, I don't know, South Central. I don't know where that is, but wherever Black people are, South Central. So I grew up like really right outside of Watts, like maybe a mile away north of Watts in an unincorporated area of Los Angeles. Very cloistered kind of childhood. You know, there was still like oil fields and wide open spaces, and we would go hiking, you know.
Wow. Nice.
Parents could let their kids get out of their sight. And the first time but there was always music in my house. I wasn't particularly, I don't think my parents were paying attention.
Yeah.
I think I was always into the music. Even
Okay.
as a kid, I would turn pots over and we had chopsticks and I would be playing the pots and driving everybody crazy. Um, I sang my first song in church, at a Presbyterian church, so not a gospel church, when I
Okay.
was 12. And then there was such a response that I didn't even know like what it was, you know. It kind of overwhelmed me, and like, wow, that, you know, they're responding to what I just did. Um, and then I sang at my 8th grade graduation. That was a big deal. And when I got into high school, the choir teacher, I got in choir, he kind of took me aside, which has happened a couple of times in my life now, and said, hey, you know, I'd like to start giving you some lessons. I think, you know, blah, blah, blah. So I would get up 5:30 on most mornings and go in and get my voice lessons in the morning.
Oh.
That was Dr. Waite. He's actually the um, over the choir department at Stanford University now.
Oh,
I saw him 5 years ago when I went up to the
wow.
Stanford Jazz Club. He was shocked to see me. He
Wow.
was so shocked to see me, but he's a wonderful, wonderful man. Um, so I sing choral music, but like more like, European style choral music, which is wonderful ear training and
Yeah.
understanding how to sing in a group and dynamics and all of that stuff. And when I got into college, I started kind of branching out. I got into some top 40 bands, almost working. At 18, I was working clubs and working bars, singing everything. I fell in love with Al Jarreau a little bit before. And so now I had a band. And so we started doing that music. But since then, I've sung country, I've sung classical, sung gospel, obviously pop and R&B. And it wasn't until I think the first time I sang with a upright bass, a piano, was I think when you called me up to sing at the Jazz Salon. And I think Josh Nelson was sitting in a piano that night, which is, a blessing from God, right? And after that, I went to the Stanford Jazz Camp to kind of see, is this something that I can do? Can I put my hat in the ring, and do I have enough chops, and can I learn enough? So I've just been trying to learn ever since. But yeah, it's only 7 years was the first time I sang with a trio. And having done that, it was like, oh wow, there's so much space here. There's so many, and my thing is like, I think I'm learning more, but there was so much space. I was like a kid in a candy store. I just want to go taste this and taste this. And you're like, well, slow down, enjoy that first piece before you just start stuffing your mouth with a bunch of flavors. So, yeah, I'm still learning how to do that because I get excited. And then, my brain starts firing up. But yeah, that's
Would
kind
you
of.
would you say your previous longtime job a aided you in your on your music road as well?
I mean, it gave me some stories. I used to be an educational psychologist for 20 years. And before that, I worked with the Superior Court for another 13 or 14 years. It gave me stories, but no, really what it did was just let me know I was in the wrong place. I still remember just being on the freeway, driving to East LA, looking around in the cars, and it was just like, damn, And I'm like, damn, this sucks, right? They're like, yeah, it does. So I wrote a song about it on my last album called Sabine's Grind.
Oh, really?
And yeah, um, there were many years, Cathy, where I just like, well, this is life. And, yeah, I have my dreams, and maybe, something I'll be able to sing in a band on the weekends or something. But right now I'm just grinding and hustling. You got a family to feed, mortgage, just doing your thing. So it was just like kind of being pulled out of a place where I never really felt like I belonged. I had gifts, and I hope that I helped a lot of people along the way. But being in like a corporate bureaucratic system is not my idea of paradise. And it also told me, like, you're an artist, dude, and you're kind of in the wrong lane. But getting out of that lane when you're in it, it can be a hard thing. You're a person that's always taken initiative. I mean, you're calling Europe when you're in your 20s, and but many people don't have that kind of initiative or that self-belief. And I've been that person where, like, I know I have this talent, but do I have this talent? I know I can compete, but can I compete? I know I can sing, but can you really sing, man? So always questioning yourself. And that kind of personality, I had to screw up my nerve. and jump into another lane. But this is the lane I belong in, so you know, I can fight in this lane. But it didn't really help that much. No, this told me that I was not doing what I need to be doing. And then my mom was like, when I was offered the gig for the Fifth Dimension, I was taking care of her. She was actually living in the next room, and she was like, if you don't do this, you're never going to do it. So, you know, go ahead and be bright, be the brightest light you can be. And my wife, you know, has always pushed me out the door to do what I need to do. So,
Yeah,
I don't know if that answered the question, but
yeah, I mean, it's nice to hear about your mom's words too, but I always have felt that Cheryl was so supportive and
oh,
just always like believed in you so much, and yeah, just a wonderful wife to have to share a
she
life.
is a wonderful wife, and without question, you know, my best everything. Um, and so understands me. And so she pushes me when I need a push, and she rubs the top of my head when I need, you know, need some consoling. um, but yeah, so yeah, Sabine's Grind on that album is, and those songs are always, to me, those are like, keep pushing, keep doing your best, but they're from the point of view of the me when I was hustling and I wasn't in the lane that I needed to be. And on this album, that song is Light,
Yeah.
and that goes back to my mom's words. And so that's an original off this new album.
Oh, good. We'll have to hear that. Um,
Okay, sure.
I wanna also ask. Well, first, Priscilla was wanted to know where would she have seen you perform? Vibrato. I don't remember if you had performed at Vibrato. He performed at Bar Fedora. I know
Right.
that.
Um,
Vitello's or something?
that Vitello's, um,
Catalina's or
Catalina's, um, Barbara Morrison, rest in peace.
World Stage?
World Stage, but not vibratos, not yet. Hopefully that'll happen soon.
Yeah, that would have been really nice. I'd love to
Yeah.
see that. So tell us about I don't think I ever really asked you
Hmm.
like about how the Fifth Dimension gig came up. What year was that?
That was 2018, and so the short end of the story is that the director of the Fifth Dimension, Ron Foyer, who's a great friend of mine now, they lost a singer, and they were looking for singers, obviously a male vocalist, and they had auditioned a bunch of folks, but I guess they just weren't right. They were going to go with somebody that had a bigger name to kind of boost up the brand, but it didn't feel right. So he called Nolan,
Oh,
because they're old friends. It's actually his dad, Ron Porter Sr., that called Nolan and said, "Hey, do you know of any singers? Because my son is looking for some singers." And he said, "No, I got the guy for you."
so true.
Nolan, I love Nolan, man. Oh man, I love that guy. And so, you know, gave him my name, and I went down, and I remember Ron had told me on the phone or something like, "I got 5 guys coming in today. You're the first guy." So I go in, and you know, Florence was sitting. You know, Florence is about, you know, 5 feet tall, right? But she also like fills up the room, you know, with her majesty. And I went in. She didn't say a word to me, and I was so nervous, Cathy. I hadn't been that nervous in a long time, like on an audition. I don't remember what I sang. We talked a little bit, and I sang. She never said a word, and then I get in the car. Thank you very much. Go home. He calls me. He goes, "Look, listen, I got these guys coming in, but if you want the gig, you got it." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll take it." But I was still working. I was on a leave of
Okay.
absence because I was taking care of my mom, and that was killing me, right? But I was still employed,
Yeah.
and then now I'm going out on the road with them on weekends and 4 or 5 day jaunts and I'm like, this is showing up online, and I got to make a decision because I'm going to get fired. It's a violation of my leave of absence to be employed by somebody else. So that's when I retired. And I just kind of took a leap of faith and said, let's see what happens. And it's been
Okay.
wonderful
Yeah, I
being in that
remember
group.
that was this real slow approach to your retirement.
Yeah, it was.
I kept hearing about it a lot.
Yeah, definitely. That's when I had like high blood pressure, and job was killing me, man. I was on medication for high blood pressure. I leave the job, and all of a sudden my blood pressure goes down.
Really?
I kid you not.
Oh, well, that
I
makes
kid you
sense,
not.
doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, that makes
But
sense.
yeah, so that has been a wonderful association. I just wish my brother and my sister were around to know, that I'm in the fifth dimension.
Wouldn't that be
But
amazing?
oh my God, they would flip out. Some of their friends are just like, what? Are you kidding me? They just flip out. Um, but just to learn, from those guys, they're pros. I mean, they're seasoned pros. So, and it's a completely different approach to music and entertainment. This is entertainment. It's not about like what you do and what I try to do, which is like get into the music and, really, this is about making people smile and pulling them out of their seats. And so it's a real learning experience.
There was this guy, Kenny Lee, sorry, Kenny, I forgot your last name. Anyway, he's bass player and he's been associated with Steve Miller for 40 years.
Wow.
He actually he and his bandmates wrote all this music, and then Steve Miller took all that music and made the hit record Abracadabra. And then from then on, they were his band for
Oh,
40.
okay. All right. All right. They got the credit for writing it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. When you said took, I thought, oh my goodness. All right. So
No,
wow.
no,
Okay. So he's been with them for 40.
yeah, and the conversation was so interesting. He was talking about in those situations, like when you come out with Steve Miller, people don't want to hear like the jazz improvisation kind of thing. They're interested, he used the word catalog. They're interested in your catalog. They want you to play Abracadabra because it brings them back into a moment of time and a
Absolutely.
situation where they were, it was emotional, and that, it's like having a record in your hand instead of a
Hmm.
CD, you know?
Hmm.
So yeah, that's an interesting thing, and it's valuable. It's extremely valuable. Kenny Lee Lewis. Thanks, Taylor. Yeah.
When I got smitten with Al Jarreau, I think I saw him 5 or 6 times, like in quick succession.
Yeah.
And it, I had kind of fallen in love with his earlier body of work
Yeah.
when he was much more like experimental and jazzy and um, different interesting combinations of instruments and stuff. And he really shined. And then he got really popular, Warner
Mhm.
Brothers, and he started like making pop hits, right? And so I would go to the show. So not having any concept from the artist's point of view, but what he had to do was balance this pop popularity that he now had with his like experimental and exploratory past, right? And present still, I mean, it's still out the row. Um, and I would sit in the concert and I would love all the experimental stuff. I wasn't really into "We're in this love was a together." It was a little bit too syrupy for me,
Right,
but
right.
it was him and I loved him, so that's cool. At the concerts, I can remember people getting upset, like vocally upset, because he wasn't doing his songs the way that they had heard them on the radio. And at the time, I was like rolling my eyes like, what the fuck, you know? Sorry. Well, we can cuss her. All right.
Yeah.
You know, come on. This is who this guy is. But they didn't know that. They
Yeah.
knew, you know, we're in the sing along. And, you know, he's going off in these flights and fancy. Obviously, a lot of people enjoyed it, but some people didn't get it, didn't get into it. But now that I'm performing with the Fifth, I really understand. Because you know, you do the meet and greet afterwards. And I mean, some people are in tears. I haven't had this much fun. It's took me back to when I was in high school, and, you know, now they're off in their flights of fancy and reminiscing. I met my husband at you know, Fifth Dimension, you know, all of this stuff. So it made more sense to me, you know, it made more sense to me. But for the creative person, like, you know, the jazz guitarist all of a sudden finds himself playing in a pop band, it can be really stifling because you don't have the full range of your expression. But as a singer, the people that are, you know, we're facing the audience, we're the direct interface. It's been very educational. So like, how going forward do I take some of these elements without being corny with it? And so that's like my next one of my next challenges, is to how to figure out how to pull people in instead of myself losing myself in the music.
I got you.
I'll let you know how that goes.
Yeah, I totally get it. You know, I tend when I'm in the studio, my engineers are constantly trying to lead me back to the, you know, to the fray, you know, and singing the melody. Now, because like recently I realized just because I have heard this melody a million times doesn't mean that the people listening have heard it a million times.
Exactly.
So, you know, for me to be bored with it is stupid. I have to sing that you know, because I don't know if this goes up your alley, but for me, I never thought I was so fabulous singing the melody. I thought, okay, I have a nice voice and I can sing the melody, but there's so many other people who sing that way better than me.
Yeah.
And I sing best, for me, in my point of view, I sing best when I'm free and I can,
Yeah.
you know, mess around with the time and the notes and the, you know, the concepts and stuff.
Yeah, and you're so good at that. And that's where you and me really line up as singers. You know, I approach it the same way, but even you have told me, dude, stay with the melody for a little bit. You know, and now when I listen to artists that are really taking liberties, like, you know, maybe more than they should, now I recognize what it is. Like, you can lose somebody quickly by deviating off the melody too fast,
Yeah.
because it doesn't give them time to kind of set up the core of what it is that they're hearing. Once you establish that core, now you can start to spin out. So you would tell me, other people would tell me, sing the first verse straight, so people at least know what you're playing with. Don't start off playing before you've even established what the melodic line is.
Now, having
And
said that, though, I have to
still
say,
struggle with that.
well, sorry to interrupt, but there's two things
No, please.
that I think about that. One is that I think it's okay to stray and come. I think there's certain parts of the song that are so significant to the song that it's great to come back to that line, because even if you're straying and then you come back to that line,
Yeah.
it's like tension and release, right?
Yes.
And also, I observed growing up, you know, like listening to Betty Carter, for instance. So Betty Carter in her youth or younger years, let's just say, she was actually singing the melody a lot. But then at some point, because she was Betty Carter,
Because she was Betty Carter.
she could start right away and do whatever she wanted. She could,
Right.
she did. She totally recreated songs, right?
But I think that's a bigger frame of what we're actually looking at. So a young Betty Carter, almost a young everybody
Yeah.
was more here.
straight.
and then they get a level of confidence and they're like, oh, well, I'm just going to let it hang out. But the audience is also expecting that from Betty Carter when they go to see
Yeah.
her, so no, you're absolutely right about it. And it changes a little bit when you're doing your own music, of course, but when we're talking about the songbook, the great standards that everybody knows, and there's such a reverence for
Yeah.
the original melody and the
Yeah.
original lyrics and the original, chording and everything, that some people get bent out of shape when you mess with that. Don't mess with that. That dude spent 3 weeks writing that song, man. Don't you mess with that song. It's been sung for 60 years. You don't have the right to come in and change it. So there's that point of view, and I think that's a legitimate point of view.
Yeah, it's really it's very interesting. I remember one singer who I won't mention the name, and had a really adventurous record of arrangements. And
Mhm.
this one song, I really didn't like because it was. I'm not sure why. What was it that I really loved? Like, as you said, the original piece was just so beautiful. You really didn't need to mess with it. Or did they take it way just too out? I think it was more that because I
Right.
like arrangements of songs.
Yeah, of course you love arrangements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like substitution chords a lot, you
Yeah.
know? And of course, we know you put five piano players in a room, and the same song is going to sound five different ways because
Right.
of their desire of voicings and stuff. So I think it's more like, okay, I'm going to have this arrangement and take it out, but how out is it? I mean, and the version of out, does the version of out actually have its own substantial, meat? Is that version really complete and beautiful, or is that one just like cut and paste?
And I think that's the danger of it, and um why you just have to keep exploring that and understanding melody. It's easy to take, well, not for everybody, but it's easy to come up with an alternate melody, but is what you're doing going to resonate with people? And if you're just doing it just to be doing it
Yeah,
and it doesn't serve the song, because
yeah,
that's what you're talking about, you can substitute chords and you can rearrange melodies, but as long as it's serving the song. I was just listening to you sing with Joe, is it Diorio?
Diorio, yeah.
Diorio? And
Hmm.
like the stuff you were doing was just, it was just brilliant stuff. So you were taking melody and then and he's substituting chords and you guys are just playing back and forth together, but it still held the integrity of the song.
Yeah,
And I think that is the danger of improvisation,
yeah,
is that you're on this high wire act and you can fall over and, now what are you doing? You're just wallowing in the mud. Um, but it's improvisation, so you can always pull it back if you want. um, and I'm still learning how to do that. But my natural instinct is probably the same as yours, is that I want to explore and what did he just play? Oh, let's go over there for a minute.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Well, God, I mean, there's so many different avenues. One of my favorite, you probably don't know of her. She's a singer who used to live here. Lovely, beautiful singer named Allison Wedding. And she did the most beautiful version of the Beatles song "And I Love Her."
mm,
And it was the basic song was there, but it was kind of haunting. It was a ballad and but jazz, but haunting, and she didn't finish the line. Da, 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 da. It was very haunting. Da, 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 da.
mhm.
Oh, it's just
And
gorgeous.
this kept you suspended out there.
Yeah.
Woo! That's
It's really
hot, man.
beautiful. Yeah, I'll have to share
Yeah.
that with you. It's really, really pretty. I have a few comments, and Dan's been posting your We have to go listen to some music. He
There you
actually has
go.
you doing Autumn Leaves, which I think that was at Bar Fedora with Nolan, I think.
Cool.
Right? That video?
Oh, I think so. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
It's like
Um,
my standard, my one standard that I know now. I don't know any now. I used to when I was hanging with you, I knew a bunch. I was trying to get up to. I think at the time you said you had 400 memorized. I was like, all right, let me try to get there. Then
well,
I
I
took a
had a
left
few
turn
more
into my
years
own
of
music.
work. Yeah, you and Aviva had Autumn Leaves. That was it. But
Yeah.
both sang it great. So, yeah, Priscilla's kind of talking about she wondered if vocalists got tired of singing the same songs, and then Taylor, I think this is a cool question. You may have a different take on this, but I was wondering, how do you construct a narrative when you sing? What are some key elements you think other singers lack when they try to sing a narrative, if you do think that way?
I don't necessarily think that way, but it starts off with what we were just talking about. Establish what the song is, understand what it is that you're trying to sing about, what you're trying to communicate. Take your time in that communication and really keep the full song in mind.
Yeah.
So don't, try not to peak too early. These are things that I have to tell myself because mistakes I often make. Try not to peak too early. You don't have to give every little thing that you have on every song.
Hmm.
Um, Stick with the melody. Sometimes singing the words straight and sticking with the melody can make a singer feel like, geez, I'm boring
Yeah.
because I'm not doing anything with this, but that's not the case. And it can be uncomfortable when you feel like that. And so that's when I think you see singers start to kind of go off and try to do things to make it interesting to themselves. But you might be leaving the audience behind, and unless that's just what you're known for and they're expecting that from you. I don't know if that was an answer or
You
not.
know, you're just making me laugh because I I remember. So my original jam session in LA was at the Sportsman's Lodge for
Oh yeah, I remember Switzerland.
seven
Yeah.
years, right? That was the best session. But Rick James came in once, and
Wow.
you know what song he sang? You're gonna laugh. My Funny Valentine. Can you imagine that? So
I,
anyway,
I actually, for some reason, I can see him doing that.
okay, so what he did though,
Wow, that's out the box though.
I know, he started singing the song, just singing the song, which was enough. It was
Wow.
Rick James singing
My
My Funny
funny
Valentine. That was
Valentine.
fine. But then something happened and
He went
he
to Rick James.
he went to Rick James and it was horrible.
Take off them pants, girl.
That was really interesting.
Wow. Well, that's a Saturday Night Live skit if I've ever heard one. Oh my goodness. I don't want to criticize. I've been a musical snob since I was a kid, right? So, and Rick James, all my peers love Rick James, and I was just like, it bored me. It just bored me because it was so the same thing. But the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah.
People want to hear that simplicity. They can grab onto that simplicity. Wow, I would have paid money to see that.
You know who was with me at the time? Linda Smith. And
Oh
so,
wow, I know.
so
Yeah.
ask her about that. That was really we were
Okay,
like,
absolutely.
what? And
What?
she
And
and I,
obviously this is before cell phone videos, right? So
yes, yes. Oh my
that
God.
would have had near a billion hits by now.
Oh, God. Let's see. Now let me just play at
Sure.
least some of Autumn Leaves. Let's see. I think this is the one that was
Very much.
from
Um,
Bar
I just want to say
Fedora,
before
I
we start
think. Let's see.
that
Let's see it.
my other profession
No.
actually
Oh yeah. Where's
That's a more relaxed version of Autumn Leaves. That was at a benefit concert in
is
Hollywood
the
for
novel.
suicide prevention.
is this okay to play?
We're gonna say
It's okay. There's a better one with Nolan's band,
There is. Let's
but
go see it, even though my friend Alan Walker is there. Um,
yes, I love Alan and Nolan's there too.
yeah, I
I
saw
don't know if it's on. I mean, that's fine. I don't mind. I'm pleased that
maybe
you're interested in hearing it.
Let me try this. Nolan Shahid at Bar Fedora or at Saturday Night Jazz DTLA. Maybe that. Um,
Go ahead and play that. It's fine. It's
yeah.
fine. Yeah.
Um, let
If
me.
I find another one, I'll send you the link.
You know
So
what
I don't
else
think.
I had actually footage of? It was I had footage of that you when I put that thing together for you and my friend at Barbara Morrison's thing. Um, do you have?
Yeah,
I had some. I don't know where it is, but
you have some footage of that?
yeah, I do.
Oh wow. Yeah, I don't. That was fun. He's talent.
Very good, John Finley. He's
John Finley.
yeah. Okay, so yeah. I'm just gonna do this and go back to that. And here we go. Sidney Jacobs, Autumn Leaves, and
Okay, let's see
now
what
I can't
happens.
find it. Okay, let me let me go backwards. I can find it like this.
Thank you very
There we are.
much. I just want to say
Oh boy, me talking.
my
Okay,
other
I can.
profession,
Let's see.
but today
Yes, I'm not a politician, but it meant something to me because I was a suicide prevention, and I at the time I was still working with kids that were suicidal ideations.
drift by my window, the fallen leaves over red and gold. I see your lips, oh, summer kisses, that dark brown hand, a baby that I used to hold. Since you've been away, the days grow longer until I hear a waiter's call. But I miss you most of all, my love. Whoa, when autumn leaves begin to fall, these autumn leaves drip by my window, the fallen leaves of red and gold. I see your lips,
Yeah.
summer kisses, the dark brown hand, say, oh baby that I used to hold. Well, since you've been away, the days grow longer until I hear a winter's call now. But I miss you most of all, my love. When autumn leaves begin to fall.
All right. I'm gonna go to one of your songs today. You
Sure.
know, like at your on your website, your music.
Might want to go to Light. That's a song that I wrote, and it kind of spoke to what we were talking about, keeping faith, when you're not feeling the most confident
Yeah, okay.
in what you're doing.
I love this image is great, by the way.
Thank you. Is that Light?
Yeah, supposedly. Oops, sorry. Let me start again.
Thank you, by the way, for the compliment on the
Yeah.
rose-colored glasses.
She said, I know the way it is with you running in and out of your life. I know that things ain't right, but when you're doing your thing, it's out of sight. But he said I should lay it out. She said the music makes her want to shout. Bring that spirit, help someone get through. Do your thing, boy. back in line. They say, who do you think you are? You're fooling yourself, you won't get very far. It's easy to just let them win and tell yourself that no good seems to sow. But in the end, nobody will care if you do your thing or if you don't. So it's gonna be alright, no matter what it is. Keep stepping forward always, especially when days look cloudy. Back down, never chasing angels for good measure or forever.
Really cool, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's such a positive feeling, and both the music and the video is really nice. Did you do the video?
Yeah, I did all of those videos except for the Weave the Tail, just cutting images together to give some visual interest to it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really nice. You did a great job. I know I've made my videos of the singles that I released, over the pandemic, and it's a lot of work, and it's fun work though,
It is fun work. It's very creative. But it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, I don't keep track of the hours that I work. Some days I'm in here 15, 16 hours, and I don't even know it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. That was a meaningful song. It was taken both from a poem that I wrote called The Circle, which was kind of like the circle of life, long poem, and conversations I had with my mom. So I just kind of modified some of her quotes and stuck those in there. But the sentiment is real, go out and do it, because when you're gone, you're just gone, man. And, even Michael Jackson or whoever, the big guys that die. I mean, there are some people who mourn for a long time, but most of us are like, oh, that's really sad. What would they have for lunch? So, I mean, it's just,
Just how
life life belongs to the living. So, I have to tell myself like, hey man, if you don't do it, you just don't do it. Nobody cares if you do it or not, which takes a lot of pressure off of a person like me. Just go out there and have fun and name your album what you want to name it. And it doesn't matter,
That's very cool. Really cool. Yeah.
Went to the G Spot one, they had the rehearsals.
Yeah.
And just to sit and listen to some great players. And I walked in and Dr. Bobby Rodriguez said, there are like 30 people in the room. He goes, hey, Sid, what's up with the title of your album? just like he yells it out. I'm like, okay.
That's funny.
Folks have questions.
But that's funny that he did that. He asked it, just like
Oh
that.
yeah, he just
That's
said
so
it,
him.
You
Yeah.
want to tell us anything?
Oh God. That's very funny. Um, so, yeah, so in
Are we
that
out of
first, in that first, I'm still going back to this, but in that first period of time when you retired or quit, your old job,
Mhm.
did you, uh, what happened during those times? I mean, I know you had gotten the gig with the Fifth Dimension. Was
Mhm.
that taking up all your time, or did you have other time to just get your stuff, your
Oh, that was a really stressful time. I not to go too deep into it, but I'm very much the youngest child, like by 10 years. So I'm so much older than the rest of my immediate family and extended family. Um, and my sister passed in 2016, and my sister was just like, I can't tell you how much of an amazing person she was, right? She was definitely the MVP of our family, without question. And she really held everything together,
yeah.
especially when my mom started, kind of declining. But then she passed in 2016. And, my brother had long since passed, so it was just like left with me. And I was taking care of my favorite Aunt Joe, and my mom. They were sisters. They were
Mhm.
both very elderly and getting infirmed. So I was the only person really to take care of them. So that's a lot of work. And I was still writing when I could, um, but I was grinding at work, and I was taking care of them and healthcare workers and doctor's appointments and making sure that their quality of care is up. And it was just burying me. Um, and that's when the Fifth Dimension gig came along. So I had to take a leave of absence from work because I felt like I was deteriorating. And I didn't want to let the music go because that's like the light in my life. Um, but that's kind of when the Fifth Dimension thing came along. And so I was like, I've done this gig, the day gig, for a long time. And but I felt guilty saying that it's time for me. That's something that I've always struggled with. This is my time. It's something maybe we can talk about, because being an artist by necessity means that you have to be selfish. Um,
Yeah, I'm sorry. Hold that thought. Just wanted to stick in that Buddy Rich said you have to be selfish enough to get out of the way
hmm,
because you have to be there,
right,
but you have to get out of remove yourself from it so that it can flow through you, but you have to
right.
be there.
You have to be there. And also to create, you have to have time. Ideas have to gestate. You have to have space in order to create, and time, you know. You were Anthony Wilson
Mm.
was talking about the Beatles documentary, and how they just had like months
Yeah.
to just sit and see how these songs are going to develop. And that's why they're the greatest, to me, the greatest band in history.
Yeah.
But and so I didn't have any of that. I was just in a pressure cooker of taking care of people and working, and even feeling guilty about writing songs. So when the Fifth Dimension thing came in, it was like somebody threw me a lifeline.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and my mom was like, "Yeah, cool, I'll be fine. Just do what you got to do." Um, so that's kind of the Cliff Notes version of that.
Okay. Speaking
Well,
of,
did that answer your question? What did I tend to ramble?
no, I think it did. I can't totally remember.
Okay. All right.
But I also wanted to ask you more about this last record. I mean, both of these records, are they on your own label?
Yeah, I'm not signed with anybody.
And did you hire anybody to push them or, reviews?
Yeah, I hired the first album. I hired Groove
Uh-huh.
Marketing and Mouthpiece
Yeah.
Music. And on this album, on the print, it was Mouthpiece again and Jazz Dog to do the
Okay.
radio stuff. Yeah, you got to have that help if you want to push your music out. I also had help with album design and the glasses and all of that stuff. That was a graphic designer that did that. Um, yeah, voice teacher, gym membership,
Yeah.
psychologist, therapist to keep me going.
So, and do you have reviews of the record? Did you get reviews already?
I have some wonderful reviews. I have some reviews that didn't quite get it. I um, but that happened with the last album too. The last album did well. It went up to 34 in the Jazz Week chart.
Wow.
Most of the reviews were like, I've never heard of this guy before, I want to hear more.
Yeah.
Some were like, I don't know what he's doing. I don't dig it. And it's kind of the same way with this, as the reviews are coming in. Some are super glowing, positive. Some, it kind of sounds like they didn't really listen to the music, or
Yeah.
they certainly didn't even hardly read the press material. So they don't even know what like the origins of the music are. So
Yeah.
they're asking all of these questions
Yeah.
without, the answers are given to them.
I find
I
that.
take all of that. I take all of that with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
would be nice to find management that somebody really understood, the potential audience that my music holds and our record company. But until that comes along, I just keep rolling along and doing the music.
Yeah. 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 I know. I know. Sometimes it's like I got one review for my last record, which was Standards with Phil Strange, my
Yeah,
pilot
I listen to that.
right
Yeah.
in Japan. And I mean, they weren't super out. We weren't, I mean, that concert it was,
No, not at all.
yeah, it was kind of, I mean, it was a relationship, a duo relationship, which is fluctuating. But, um, and some guy said, you may be surprised to hear this. And, like, I was like, why would you be surprised to hear me do Standards? I didn't
I don't
get
think
that at
cats are,
all.
yeah, I don't think cats are listening. And, I'd rather just don't write anything. If you're not going to take an hour
Yeah,
to actually listen to the music,
yeah,
but I can tell the people that actually really listen to it.
yeah,
Um, and it's getting reviews and feedback. It's a good thing, but you have to be very careful with your spirit about that. So
absolutely.
I know what I want to do. I accomplish what I set out to do.
Right.
Most important.
Yes.
So if you dig it,
Hmm.
I want you to dig it. But if you hate it or don't like it, that's cool too.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know what artists I heard say, but I think it all the time. The only thing I don't want you to be is indifferent about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So that means that you're actually pushing some buttons and you're pushing up against some limits. When you have people hate it and you have people love it, as opposed to yeah, it's a I just don't want my music to be yeah, yeah. It's I don't gotta
Well,
work that into a song somewhere.
you know, and take this as you will, I mean,
Okay.
I think it's kind of cool. But I've always thought your music was structured differently. Like it doesn't sound like the same old chord changes and
Right.
formulas. I think it sounds different. And I think possibly that's where some of those people who are not, leaning towards the side of it, I think that, it's like we were talking before, how people, don't fuck with the song.
Right, right. And
So,
don't fuck with the genre either.
yeah,
And
but
so I'm used to hearing music like this, and yeah,
I,
don't
I'm
mess with that.
I've always been intrigued by that, like that you hear what you hear is unique, and I think especially on this record, I think everything really gelled beautifully. And the
Thank
who,
you.
and what about the arrangements? Did you do the arrangements, or did who somebody got in there and arranged also, right, for horns?
No, well, yeah, I mean, I do everything here. I
Yeah,
do everything at my keyboard
yeah,
right here, and but because I didn't go to conservatory, and my um compositional skills are kind of limited. I had Josh look at what I was doing, and it was really like taking a master's class in arranging.
yeah,
Telling me like these horns don't typically go together, or this kind of line doesn't work. It's working here, but you're doing something different. But you need to be aware of this. And I this is where I write.
yeah.
So I'll write all the horns in and all the chords. That's why the voicings can sound different, because they're my chords.
Yeah.
And I don't know what chords they are, but I'll just pick them out and I'll hear them. And then the cats that get it, like Josh, it took us a little while to kind of establish a workflow pattern, how we were working, because I had written most of the songs, but some of the horns didn't work. What happened is it was during COVID, so the trio went in the studio and we recorded. And then when I got the recordings back, because we didn't have a score for the drummer to be hidden where the horns would be hidden, Gene didn't know where they were hidden,
Yeah.
but what they were playing was so slick and so good that I took those live recordings, put them back into my computer, and then I rearranged the horns to match what they were playing. So it was kind of reverse engineering. Then Josh went in and made ideas and cleaned stuff up. So that's why my music sounds like my music, because it's actually playing the stuff and then I'm handing it to actual players, and then they're taking it and interpreting it.
Interesting.
But I do try to follow, like I tend to follow more pop structure in song, because I want the song to hit in your ear. So, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, verse, whatever. I mean, there are many different kinds of structures, but I want to make sure that the whole song is of a thing. And it's not just me, I don't want to use that word. It's not just me like going off in some, the word I want to use has a sexual connotation, so I didn't want to use it. But what guys would say, it's not just, okay, I'm not going to say that. Anyway, it's not just me
Yeah. Okay, I get it.
experimenting, and there has to be a structure to it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just up there, playing around.
Yeah.
So I think that's what the cats have told me. Like it's interesting for them, because because the way that I'm thinking about music might be different than the logic that they've learned.
Yeah.
But it still works. Those guys have to adjust their understanding to play my music, because I'm coming from such a iconoclastic place. I kind of learned it by myself. But I also think that because of the form of the song, because of my style of singing, that if you hear my music like more than once or twice, you'll get it.
Yeah.
We'll see. I'll just keep doing it.
Yeah. Well, I applaud you. I think it's great. I think the process has been really interesting, and like, I'm sure there are people listening to this conversation who are pretty fascinated with the process, you know, because you think that it's, you hire an arranger and the arranger does it, and
Yeah.
maybe the artist has their input, or they wrote the songs, or, but that process is pretty cool process. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I remember speaking to Johnny Mandel about his famous Shirley
Mm.
Horn record, uh,
Mm.
Here's to Life. And
Oh, Lord of mercy.
yeah, gorgeous, right?
Good
So what he
gracious.
did
Yeah.
was he had a recording of the trio, and that's what he built the arrangements on.
Right. So he reverse engineered it.
And you know what he
Yeah.
did too? When he had the recording of the trio, he literally wrote every note that they played down,
Wow.
and then he built from there.
Well, that's the challenge. That's really a lot of work. And Josh did, he was more than just like helping me arrange it. He actually charted everything out.
Yeah.
And it was an immense amount of work. Um, but I think it's actually a kind of a cool way to go about arranging it, because you can get some really interesting rhythmic um, elements going, because the trio is not playing to a prescribed hits, so
Right.
they start to groove in themselves, and now the arranger can go back and say, oh man, that's fantastic. Like the song that we had just heard, um it's all over the place. Those horns had been written. They went in and played the song. When we went back and listened to it, Gene's and Josh's hits and everything, they were all over the place, much different from what I had intended with the horns, but so much cooler. And so a lot of those hits, if you listen underneath it, you'll either hear the drummer playing or you'll hear Josh, playing stuff on the keyboard. And I just copied him.
Yeah.
Yeah, just copied it and harmonized with it. And now you got a horn part.
Yeah.
So working with Josh was amazing. Working with all those guys, as you know, we're so blessed. And then when I had all of the tracks together and had all of the masters together, then I took it to Ron Foyer. And Ron is like this genius. He's both a technical genius, like in the studio with signal path and understanding all of that. But he was a ghostwriter for Nelson Riddle when he was 18.
Oh, really?
Exactly. So that's the kind of like technical proficiency he has. He was
Yeah.
a kid and he's writing this guy, Nelson Riddle realized what a talent he was. So he also has this arranging acumen to him. So he even took some of the songs and like remixed them a little bit, and
Yeah.
we changed around some of the structure.
Uh-huh.
So it was a lot that went into this album. It was a lot. It was a real education for me.
That's something too. Yeah. It's funny because I've been cleaning up my house. It's not like it's dirty. I just
Yeah,
it's
beautiful.
the order,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
like especially in my music room and stuff, I make little piles like, oh, I'll get to this. I don't need to
Um,
get to it right now.
yeah.
So, but I found my charts from 1980
Wow.
and I had written horn charts. Now, why? I mean, when I was at Berkeley earlier, I loved the arranging part. I didn't do it in super depth, but I did
Yeah.
like people were arranging when they said two horns. People were commonly doing sax and trumpet. I
Hmm.
did like flute and flugelhorn or something.
Nice. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I kind of was leaning towards that. And I actually did. And I remember I had like little cheat sheets that told me, well, here's the range of the instrument you're working on. And, maybe a little comment like, don't do this, something like
Hmm.
that. And I looked at those and I thought, wow, I forgot that I had done that, and it would be really fun just to pull them out and do them again, just for fun, to see what
Yeah.
they sound like, and and I mean, I remember talking to John Diversa on this show, and
Uh,
we were talking about arranging for string quartet, and he said, I said, oh, I would love to go back to school and learn how to. He said, just do it. He said, I'm going to give you an assignment. Do it. And I was like, what? I was all like, oh, I don't know if I can do that,
uh,
but
uh,
but it still stays in my mind. Like, yeah, maybe, why not? It's fun. It's a whole area to get into. But you're actually doing it, which is really fantastic.
I actually wrote a song for John to play. Hopefully, we can still do a project. I'm such a fan of his talent and his playing. But yeah, I just get in there but I've been doing it for a long time. Just kind
Yeah.
of writing my songs myself. Writing, I love writing bass and drum lines. Um, The only issue is that I can get married to what I'm doing,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so it's good for me to ask guys that I respect, hey, what can I do better here? Because I know that I get
Yeah.
married, and I have this like this ADHD thing that sometimes I don't know when enough is enough,
Yeah.
and so I'll fill every available space up with music, and it could be a great part, but dude, you gotta let people breathe. You gotta let the
So
ears
true.
breathe.
I
And
know.
that's
Yeah.
something. That's why I need other ears on my music to say, like, what do you think about this?
That's why
9 times out of 10, it's like, dude, give me less of what you're doing. It's
it's
just
so
too much.
true. It's so true. John Leftwich, I do a lot of work with John Leftwich in the
That dude
studio
is
and live, and he
brilliant,
like
man.
that. Yeah. He has great ears for space, and I know the feeling of being married to something and think
Yes.
and saying to him, "John, no, I really want that in there." And he said, "Kath, no." Yeah. And
It's painful.
yeah, and you listen later and you go, "What? Yep, he was absolutely tasteful, you know."
Absolutely. It's so true. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to call it a weakness, but it is, I'm hearing too much. And it's okay to put your ideas down, but then you
Yeah,
have to know how to edit. And
yeah.
and that's where can get hard for me. But one of the tricks, I don't know who told me this, maybe it was Ron, um, is to strip everything down to the melody. So what you're singing, a piano and maybe a bass line, and then start building up from there. And you'll get to a point if you keep one of the things that happens, okay, is like when I'm writing, and let's say I'm writing a piccolo line or whatever, and I'm putting it in, um, I can forget about everything that it's supporting, and it just becomes about that piccolo line and
Yeah.
nothing else. And so, um, if I just keep in mind there's a melody that everything is supporting what's going on with the singer, everything is supporting this melody. Every horn hit, every trombone, it all needs to facilitate the song. And it's very easy to get tunnel vision, when you have every instrument available at your fingertips. So one of the things I do to limit it is I'll give myself limitations. You can only use 4 horns here. You can only use upright bass and piano and drums, or you can only use whatever guitar and flute on this song. That's it. So you're going to have to make it work with just those limitations. It's like kind of like when you go see a blockbuster movie and they had like a $500 million budget. They just like put everything on the screen, right? And you go see like some indie movie and they had like $25,000 and it's like 20 times better a movie. Um, but yeah, that can be a problem.
Well, I
Man, John
noticed
Leftwich is like a genius, man. The work that you guys are doing is
he
can't
is
wait to hear it.
he's so good. He took my project straight ahead from the UK, which was already a project that I had done in England. He took it, it had some technical problems and that we had to remove a few players and put in new players. And then his mixing, everything was just it was so high quality. I mean, that particular experience kind of blew my mind. He was so tasteful. It was incredible. But I wanted to say that last song that we heard, I heard there were a few things that I heard were like these intricate relationships of some of the horns or the rhythm section. They were like here was the rhythm section and then I can't explain it, but there were a few moments when I
Mhm.
went, wow, listen to that, and it worked, but it was
Mhm.
it was this instead of
Yeah,
this, you know?
yeah, it's that.
Yeah,
And then on that song, there are even some backing vocals, which I love to do, like
that was
harmonies.
great too.
Yeah, thank you.
Loved that.
And let the horns step out. So the horns had a big step out part.
That was awesome.
Chorus solo.
Awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Um,
Yeah, it's just learning. I just love doing it.
well, I'm so glad that we talked about this because actually So my album Social Anthems Volume 1, I did a lot
Yes.
of editing on that. Like
Yeah.
I would take the drums and get rid of them in a section and this and that. And then on Social Anthems Volume 2, which I have to be working on, but I'm also working on this project with Leftwich, the No Net project. Um, but I have to, I've flown in the stems to Logic, and I've been removing instruments, but it's kind of a good reiteration to remember the vocal. That is correct. I'm kind of doing that, but it's good to hear you say that because I can start with the basic and then add, and where it makes a good effect.
Yeah, I've yet to really work with a producer, like somebody is in there shaping it with me. I've used some guys as producers, engineers, and I think Ron more than anybody I've kind of worked with. But I think that's really the job of the producer,
Yeah,
and why it is so hard to produce oneself, because you love what you're doing,
married to.
and you can lose perspective. It's a forest of the trees. Whereas somebody who is more dispassionate about what you're doing can look at it from a larger angle and say, well, this is working, this is not working, let's pull back. When you're in there, like, chopping down the trees yourself, it's hard to see what you're doing all the time. I need to find someone that can deal with me to produce. Because I could be pretty strong about my musical opinions. But I do listen though. I just have a point of view. So if you're going to have a take on it, you got to have a take. Otherwise, I probably will go, nah, that's not working. Um,
Well, you did a great job on this though, and you mentioned Josh and
yes,
Ron.
Ron Foyer.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I think those two guys really
Oh, they're so incredible. I
the
mean,
result.
everybody on this album is incredible.
The players
Um,
sounded all
oh,
the playing
Gene
was
is.
great, and that really makes a big difference. It's
Oh, it
Gene
makes all
Coy,
the.
right, on drums?
Yeah, yeah,
He's
that dude.
amazing. He's one of
He
best drummers ever, anywhere.
ever anywhere.
Yeah.
That's what I'm telling cats, man. This is the cat, man.
Uh,
And there's a bunch of cats that I want to be able to hit with in LA that are amazing, but he's definitely, on the top end of that list.
he,
Um,
yeah.
did you know Solomon Dorsey? I did not know him prior to,
No.
um, but
Uh-uh.
he's a super gifted bass player, just musical. And he and Gene were just like locked in. It's like they had like a little wire going from one head to the other. They were just locked in. And he's like one of the best singers I've ever heard too. He's that kind of dude. And then Josh is just like my wife calls Josh a ballet dancer on the piano
That's true.
because he's just tasty. So there was that. Those guys you're gonna, whatever they produce is gonna be good.
Yeah.
If you just put a blank sheet of paper in front of them, they're gonna make something out of it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Yeah. When is your just project with John coming out, or has it already come out? Did I miss it?
No,
So I
no,
went
it's
to the
not.
concert and it was brilliant. It was
Thanks.
really brilliant stuff.
Thanks. So glad we were able to do a few concerts before the recording, just
Yeah.
to groove it in more. We are, let's see, we have just a little bit more of overdubs. So a few things happened during the time period. One of the musicians' sons killed himself during the recording period. As a matter of fact, we had a different guitar player at the live concert because of that. He had to fly to Colorado. And so now we're overdubbing him and on a few songs, and we're going to have Hubert Laws as a guest on one song, and
Oh, nice.
I'm still working on cleaning up my vocals. So with everybody's schedule, we're going to get back to that in mid-September, and then I think definitely by the beginning of the year, which is good for all the other kind of marketing things, we'll have it finished.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's wonderful.
Anthony,
Wonderful
the
stuff.
name of the drummer is Gene Coy.
Gene Coy.
Oh, by the way, Dan wants to know, is the new album only a download or is there a physical CD? Because he wants to buy a physical CD if there is.
Yeah. Where do you buy physical CDs? I have a ton of them.
Well, he could send you a check.
Yeah, he just send me a check. If he hits me on my web page,
Okay.
just send a request and I'll send him a copy. I'm sorry, I can't remember where the physical copies are. The downloads are on Amazon and Spotify and iTunes. And you can just listen on YouTube. I have them all posted on YouTube. Yeah, yeah, that's the stuff I could really use some help with, man. That administrative stuff.
Yeah.
I just want to be in here writing, but you got to do it all. Yeah,
Okay. Well, he'll hit you up on your website.
absolutely.
Which reminds me, after we're over, just tell me which email is good for you. I have like
Okay.
4 email addresses for you.
Yeah.
And Anthony Cucina would like to know some of the qualities that you look for when you hire musicians to play on your recordings.
Oh, wow, that's a great question. Um, Facility, obviously. You got to
Yes.
know your instrument. That's number one.
Uh,
Creativity and the ability to adapt. And also, I because of my orientation and I'm coming at music not just from like a mainstream jazz or a mainstream R&B, but kind of a hybrid. So guys that have experience playing multiple genres just gives
yeah.
them more variation in their playing and different ways of thinking about it. And then like the last thing is it's got to be good people that you want to work with. No assholes, unless they're like really brilliant.
But even then, it's kind of hard.
Even then, it's not worth it. Yeah, it's not worth it in the long run because so many brilliant musicians.
Yeah, I
Um,
know. Yeah, why bother with a turkey?
yeah,
Joe Goldberger is here and he sends his love.
Joe Goldberg, what's up, man? Great drummer,
Yeah,
multi talented cat.
very. And Dory said that you definitely have a
Hey,
point of view and you listen, and that's the best of both worlds for an artist.
that's another guy. When we talked about it, I would love to do something. I want to do some more things like you're doing. Like you have all these collaborations going, and I work in a cave by myself. Um, and I want to be able to work with guys, that are interested, like guys that are really showing interest and have a point of view. So this is only my third album, so hopefully
Ah,
15. You said
what?
15.
Yeah.
All right. You're giving me something to shoot for. I better get busy.
That's my fortune of having Dan Davila on my side. Speaking of Dan, he
Yeah.
brought up a good point. He said, "I will pick it up on August 12th at the G Spot at the record release show."
Yes,
So,
he will. And if Dan, if who I love, and yeah, I want to be in Dan's team too. Dan, I want to be in your team. But yeah, when you buy tickets to the G Spot performance, actually, you're going to get a free copy of that
oh,
CD
cool. So,
to go on.
those of you in Los Angeles, Sydney will be having a record release party at a place that we commonly refer to and is called the G Spot, which somebody said which is really hard to find.
Gotta keep looking. Take your time. It's there. And when you do find it, you will be greatly rewarded.
So true. But in actual fact, it is a little difficult to find.
It is hard to find.
Which makes the joke funny. But so August 12th, it's a Friday, right?
7:30.
7:30 at night. I'll be there. I don't know
Yeah,
if I
thank you.
offered my help, actually. I'd be happy to help with the anyway,
I'll take you up
we'll
on it.
talk about that. Yeah,
You will talk.
'cause
Yeah.
I've been there millions of times and
Yes.
produced stuff. And Let's see what else. August 12th, record release. This is in Los Angeles. How do they get tickets? Is it on your site?
Um, yeah, it's on my website, Sidney Jacobs Art, SIDNEY, Jacobs Art, one word.com. It's also on Facebook. If you just go to Facebook page and put in Sidney Jacobs, invitation will come up. It's also on Instagram and TikTok, but probably Facebook and my site are the best places, the easiest place to get it. Or you can go to Eventbrite,
Oh,
Bright spelled Brite, and just put in Sidney Jacobs and the event will come up and you can pay for tickets there. But you have to buy tickets in advance because the location is a private location. So you get the address once you pay the ticket.
yes.
It's like a secret club.
That's right. Knock, knock, knock.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh-oh.
I wanted
All
to
right.
ask you, yeah, my chronic cough. Um, wanted to ask you who's in the band for the gig.
Oh, for the gig, I have Josh Nelson, keyboards, Chris Colangelo. Are you familiar with Chris? On bass. He's been doing some sub work with the Fifth Dimension. He's a great guy too. Um, Drummer.
I'm
Oh
sorry,
man, this is such a
we
lovely
missed
drummer.
we missed that. We missed who?
Dan Schnell on drum,
Oh, cool. Yeah.
just a beautiful drummer. Um, Bob Shepard on sax. Brandon Wilkins, young sax player on, I think he's going to be playing alto. Um, Joachim Tofgard, the kid that you saw young man that you saw in the video, he's going to be playing a trombone. And Austin Drake is on trumpet.
Wow. Four
Um,
horns.
no, yeah, it's supposed to be five, but Nolan had to step off of it for a second. So I might get another trumpet player, but I might just leave it at four horns. And then Greg Perret is going to come in and play a song or two.
Oh, cool.
So it's kind of a big band. Not
Yeah.
as big as the thing with John, but it's the
Well,
music's
it's pretty
big,
big,
so
man.
yeah, it's a pretty big band.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's,
7, 8 guys. Yeah, that's a lot of guys
yeah,
to
that's,
carry me.
oh, it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward.
By the way,
Yeah.
I have a comment here from Alan Goldman, who
Uh-oh.
owns the G spot, and he said,
Yeah.
I have never failed to find it.
Yeah, what a cool guy Alan is, man. I love it.
Pretty funny, man.
Do me a favor when you come, just don't park in front of a couple of the neighbors' houses, man. They will have a conniption fit. Dude, man, he just really kind of came after me.
Really?
I wasn't even blocking. Nah, I wasn't even blocking his driveway. I was close. It wasn't like he was going anywhere anyway. He
Yeah.
was just like pissed, and so we didn't have an exchange. I was too
That's
pleasant for
that's
that.
so
Oh,
unusual, actually.
yeah. He said he was a little special. And then what a wonderful, it's just it's a privilege obviously to be performing there, but it's like a service to the community,
It
jazz
is.
community. What a wonderful place.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to it. And then I've seen you there once or twice, and
Mhm.
so many of my favorite singers and performers, so it's gonna be nice. Yeah.
Um, I Dan was suggesting to hear a song from Mama Sydney. Is that it?
What is the song? Conversations with Bernice, maybe?
Oh, he said a song for Mama
Oh,
Sydney.
that I wrote to my mom. Yeah, a tribute song. I wrote a couple to her. There was a song that I wrote right when she passed. It's very emotional. You can play it. It always makes me cry. Um, it should be, let me see.
Yeah, I got it. Can I
Yeah.
play this and then after that we'll go?
I Do Miss You. That's what it's called.
It says a song for Mama Sidney Jacobs.
Oh, well, Song for Mama is actually a Boys to Men song that I just reharmonized. I just did all the parts.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a nice. I like that one too.
Okay, either that or Sabine's grind video, because you mentioned it. What would you like me to do for a last song?
Um, Gosh, I like all three of those songs. You pick. I'm happy with either one. Sabine's Grind is from my previous album, First Man.
Yeah.
It's about me basically not giving up on my dreams. A Song for Mama is just a song that I did for Mother's Day, the first year that my mother wasn't here. So I did it for all the other mothers. It's very tender. And then there's a song that I Do Miss You, which is very dramatic and kind of hard on my sleeve when I was singing it. And I'm singing that one live
Now, I don't
in
have
my
to see
studio.
that on your site.
Just go to Sidney Jacobs on YouTube. It's not on my site.
Oh, okay.
Maybe that one. I was thinking about my mom as we were talking. That might be nice. Sidney Jacobs. It's right underneath the Martha LaCroix song.
Um, uh, let's see. Oh, I Do Miss You.
I Do Miss You. A tribute to Bernice Jacobs. Yeah.
Okay, and let's see. Let me share my screen. And
And I just so you know, if you look over my shoulder, you'll see that I'm actually recording the vocal.
okay.
Yeah.
I feel as though I should have better words to say, but all I really know is I do miss you. I'm blowing in the wind, I'm aimless as the world turns to gray, because you're not here. I'm going on alone, though it feels like I am home. You left me with someone who loves like you did. Yes, now, even though your race is won, it still feels like you're here by my side. And it's not the end. And now you are with your daughter, and you're with your oldest son. Your husband is standing there with his outstretched open arms. How they missed you, and now you're home. You left so much behind, grandchildren that you loved. You paved the way for those who share your spirit. Yes. And it's only now I see that you saved the best for me, your youngest son. Your life has only just begun. Thank you for letting me take care of you, mama.
Wow. Sydney. Whoa. Whew. My Wow, man. Awesome.
Thanks.
That's incredible.
Thank you.
Huh.
It's so weird to write a song that makes you cry. That song, like, that song gets me every time.
I know. I wrote a song about my two sisters who
Your
passed away.
sister song, it's such a beautiful song
That's
that
hard
you
to
wrote.
sing. I can't, it's
Oh my
very difficult
gosh.
to sing. In
Yeah.
fact, I don't even believe you sang like that on that song there. It was like,
Yeah. That was maybe the third day. I kept breaking up, kept falling apart. But yeah, thank you for sharing that.
that was gorgeous.
Thank you.
Thanks for thanks for doing that. Beautiful. Well, okay, it's been 2 hours.
It's been 2 hours of talking.
We could talk more easily. Uh,
Yes, thank you, Cathy, for inviting me onto your show. You've
um,
got such wonderful guests, and I've learned so much just like listening to folks.
great. I'm sorry to say this, but Roland went on Eventbrite and your name is not coming up, he said.
Well, that's a problem.
I'm going to go there
Um,
right now while we're on.
yeah, I'm gonna go there too because I haven't really tried from there. It's always a link, but it should be there because the link is in place. Tell Roland to go to Facebook, and I'll post another one. Go to my um,
Yeah, so
site.
Sidney Jacobs on Eventbrite, if I type it in, it's not coming up.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not coming up either.
Oh,
Okay,
wait a minute.
I'll
Yes, it is. Sorry.
yeah, it is. Yeah, tell
It
him to
is.
scroll down.
Roland, you
Yeah,
have to
it's
scroll
one,
down.
two,
Yep.
three, four, and it's sitting with an I, Roland, not with the
Right.
Y. So yeah,
Right.
it's right there.
Yeah, Roland.
But thanks for the heads up, Roland, because I hadn't checked. I just assumed that it was there because I had the link.
Yeah, it is. Thanks for looking, Roland. Oh man, thanks, Sydney. That was really a great hang.
That
Beautiful,
was a
really connecting, great music, great ideas and connection. We haven't talked for a long time.
no, but I gotta say, you're just wonderful.
Oh,
You're just wonderful. And what you're doing, both as an artist, which is incredible, your body of work speaks for itself, but that you're always pulling people together, that's like such a gift. One of my best friends who passed during the COVID actually caught it and died. He hadn't really been taking care of himself. Um, but he was a musical director for the last church I belonged to. And he was such a gifted like musician, but it was so rare to see a gifted musician also be such a great organizer and be able to pull people together. And you have that gift. And I would tell Jerry all the time, dude, you're like you know, a triple threat with your gift because you're pulling people together, and that's creating synergy. So I feel the same way about you. I'm so
thank,
glad you're in my life.
thank
I know you.
you. Thank you, my friend. I
Thank you.
appreciate it. I want you to do something really difficult. I want you to give Cheryl a big kiss and hug for me.
That's going to be hard. She's just not a looker. That girl, man, she is. Oh Lord, I look at her sometimes and I go, okay, I, I did okay. I'm a decent person. If I can pull somebody in like that in my life, I'm doing all right.
Really?
She's my reality check. Yeah.
All right, there. Have a great day. And for
Thank
those of
you.
you in LA on Sunday, I will be performing at the Urban Press Winery, which
Mm.
is in Burbank, Glendale area during the day, 2 to 5, with a really terrific band. It's going to be John Leftwich and Mitchell Long, who's a divine guitar player, and he sings beautifully. He's a
Mm.
particularly in love with Brazilian music, but he really can do everything. And actually, Mitchell and Leftwich played with Melody Gardot for a long time on the road together.
Oh wow. Okay.
Then this drummer, an amazing drummer, Danilo Amuedo, um, and I keep forgetting who his father is. Is some musician too, but anyway, it's going to be really fun, really nice.
Wow. I'm gonna try to be there.
Okay.
You had a fabulous guitarist at your gig in Catalina. Was it Will Braun?
Will played the crap out of that music. It was great.
Dude,
He played great on that.
he
Woo!
was fantastic.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I've yet to meet John. I might just come down there to hear you sing some songs just so I can shake his hand and meet him. Man, I would love to work with that guy. I mean, the ideas that he had were just like that
Yeah.
was beyond the next level.
Yeah, he's cool. All right, man.
All right, lady.
Love you very much.
You too. You too. Thank you. And man, you just kicked off my day, even though it's 2:18. Wonderful. It was a wonderful day.
Me too. I feel very inspired.
Yeah, me too. I need to get out of here, but I'm gonna come back and bring some of these ideas back.
Yeah, get out, have a breathe.
Yeah, yeah, gotta do that. And thanks for all the questions that people had.
Yeah, yeah. People are cool.
All
Okay,
right,
bye,
yeah. All
y'all.
right.